Hello everyone, welcome back to the Undercut podcast. Today we are doing our predictions for the 2025 Miami Grand Prix. Jack, it's a sprint weekend. We're back.
It is a sprint weekend. Our second one of the season after China.
Yes.
Need I remind you what happened? Forza Ferrari.
Yes, Lewis Hamilton wins the sprint in China.
The rumours are Ferrari special livery.
Yes, Ferrari special livery at Miami.
I mean, they did it last year in that god-awful blue.
Oh, mate, honestly. I was...
Looked white this year.
Yes, well, we're thinking it's going to be white. When, obviously, this video comes out, we might have already had the livery revealed. So, if we have, and Ferrari have got a special livery, then, obviously, we haven't seen it, just so you know. But last year, with Ferrari's livery, they were going to do the blue. They had the race suits. And then we were like, oh, are we going to get an all blue Ferrari? Which looked like the concept liveries from like people that on Instagram and stuff. They looked really cool. And then they never ended up doing it. And it was just some BS with the red. And it just looked awful. So, yeah.
Well, looking at the concept liveries this year, it looks shit.
Yeah, but that's obviously fans and stuff. So, like, you know, you never know. Like, we'll
get
see.
An all-white Ferrari. If they give us an all-white Ferrari this year with dashes of red and yellow all over,
I think that'd be sick. I think that'd look cool.
Oh, Lewis and Charles in white suits as well.
Oh yeah, that'd be really cool. But anyway, yeah, it's a sprint weekend, so we've had 2 weeks off now, which is really odd because you know, it's almost like F1 has like turned into brain rot, sort of, because every week
can't get away from brain rot,
bro. Every week,
all that this guy's been doing for the past 2 weeks, he's been spewing off to me his brain rot.
Mate, brain rot it's great. But F1's turning into brain rot because every weekend I'm like, why is there not a race? Like, we need a race. But whereas when we were growing up, when we were kids, it was like an event. Like, it was an F1 race almost every 3 weeks. Like, it's almost every week now. So, yeah, it's crazy. So I felt a little bit lost without F1 last weekend. But we're back for the Miami Grand Prix. It's a sprint, of course. As we mentioned, Lewis Hamilton won the sprint last time. Do you think Ferrari could pull something out of the bag this weekend?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I think they showed promising signs in Bahrain. I think Charles showed promising signs in Saudi. Me and you both said in our Saudi predictions that didn't come out because there was a malfunction in the sound.
Yes, there was. Yes.
We both said Lewis is going to struggle, and he did struggle because Saudi's a high-speed confidence track, and when you're in a car that you don't know and don't understand, you're not going to do well. So 7th was good for Hamilton.
Yeah, and also Saudi, I mean, let's be real. Out of all the tracks that Lewis Hamilton's driven at, I think Saudi's probably one of his worst, if not his worst circuit. And probably. Yeah, he's won there, obviously, yeah. But statistically, it probably is his worst, I'd say, maybe. Yeah. There probably is a few more because he has taken a win at Saudi, but in this new era of regulations, he's not done well at all at Saudi.
No, so I wouldn't take... I mean, you've got to look at his most previous result to some degree, but I think you can probably just remove Saudi and then take the rest of his season. He showed promising signs in Bahrain. He was thereabouts with Charles's race pace in Bahrain. China, thereabouts with Charles. Australia was thereabouts with Charles. Where has Charles actually really destroyed Lewis? Saudi?
I think he looked a lot quicker in Bahrain. I think he looked a lot quicker in Saudi. But the rest of the races, Australia, Charles, Australia and...
I wouldn't say he was a lot quicker in Bahrain. I mean, he was quicker, for sure.
I'm pretty sure he finished 20 seconds.
The levels of Saudi.
He was like 20 seconds ahead, though, by the end of the race. Something like that. I mean, when we were saying that about Oscar and Lando last year, we said it was unacceptable. When we were saying about Perez and Max, it's like it's on that level at that point.
It wasn't 20. It was 12.
I thought it was 20.
No, it was 12.
Was it 20 in Saudi? It was 20 in Saudi, wasn't it? Or was it 30 in Saudi?
No, it was 30 in Saudi. It was 12 in Bahrain.
That's crazy. But no, I mean, Australia... I mean, Hamilton wasn't too far away from Charles. He got stuck behind the Williams, obviously. And in China, he won the sprint. So you can't take that away from him. What about McLaren? Is this a track maybe where we'll see them slip up, or will they continue their run of form?
I think they'll continue. To be fair, I think Lando will win this one. I think obviously going off last season, he won in Miami. I think he'll come into this track knowing that he's won in Miami, a bit more confidence than what he has been at Saudi potentially. He had a good race at Saudi, to be fair, and if it wasn't for Hamilton holding him up, probably would have got Charles.
Yeah, Hamilton doing bits for the team, holding Lando up, obviously. But yeah, I mean, with that, let's just jump straight into the predictions then, shall we? Because you've mentioned Lando might be a lot, a lot more confident this time round, and well, let's just see what we say in these predictions, shall we? So, of course, we got to start with the sprint because it's a sprint weekend. Who have you got on sprint pole?
My sprint pole, I've gone with Charles Leclerc.
Okay.
I think I'm going off the thought of for our last sprint. So your last sprint form, Ferrari were on it straight out the bat. They surprised us in China. Let's put it out that way.
They did.
And I think they'll come off straight away. I think Charles is finding a sweet spot in that Ferrari now that he likes. He knows roughly what he's doing. And we got to remember, Charles is pretty good around Miami. Like, he's only really been beaten by superior cars. Failing that, he picks up the next best spot.
Yeah, Charles does go well around Miami.
It's a street circuit. Charles is good at a street circuit.
Yeah, as we've seen, he does like a street circuit. For pole position, I've gone with George Russell. I think I was almost right for my prediction when I said that George was going to get the pole at Saudi. I was so close. Was it not? No, was it Saudi or was it Bahrain? I think it might have been Bahrain. No, it was Bahrain.
What?
I was close. I was close when I said, because I'm pretty sure I predicted.
Saudi.
Was it Saudi?
Yeah.
Nah, I swear I predicted George
No,
pole when
Saudi.
he was half a tenth off. It was one of them, and I was definitely right. And I was
was
almost
Saudi.
right. I was going my gut with George Russell, and so I'm going my gut again. I feel the sprint. George, obviously, qualifying form. It's he's absolutely insane. So I'm going with George Russell on sprint pole.
Okay. Sprint race third. So we go 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So third, I'm gonna go with Max Verstappen.
Oh, you put Max in there.
I have put Max in there, and the reason I've put Max in there is because of his form in Bahrain. Not Bahrain, in Miami, over previous years. Max is one of them drivers that just turns it on. We saw it in Suzuka. He just turns it on. I think the Red Bull looked pretty good in Saudi as well.
Yeah,
I must admit. So, yeah, I've gone with Max. I think he'll outperform that Red Bull to get third. But it could be his only bit of glory this weekend.
It could be. Max, you can never write Max off. But
No.
when we get over to the the end of the predictions, I think I'm gonna surprise a lot of people. In third, I've gone George Russell. Yep, I've gone with Paul George, but third, ultimately, I mean, there's just two cars that will just beat him. I mean, let's just be honest. I don't need to say much more than that.
Right, so we could predict your top 10.
Of course, go on. Who have you got in second place?
In second place, I've gone with Lewis Hamilton.
Oh, God. Right, Ferrari Delulu is back. Ferrari Delulu. Well, it never went. Let's be honest.
It's not Delulu, it's Charlulu.
It's Charlulu. Oh, wow. Okay.
It's Charlulu. No, so I have gone with Lewis Hamilton. I think he does okay in Miami. We saw he was pretty quick last year with his battle with Magnussen. That was quite fun.
Yeah, it was.
I think he's starting to get an understanding of that car. We saw at the end of Saudi, he's on the pace of the front runners. It took him 50-odd laps, but he got there. But will it be enough to beat his teammate? No. But I think the Ferrari will turn up with a decent car this weekend.
I don't know if I agree or not, to be honest. We'll see. You know, you never know with Ferrari. Just like I can't predict Ferrari at this point. I'm just staying far away from them.
Fair.
Second, I've got Oscar Piastri. Oh, he's in a McLaren. And based on what you said earlier, there is one driver who I think this weekend might surprise a few people. Who have you got first?
Charles.
So no McLaren in top 3. That's got to be the most delusional thing. What are they, 4th and 5th? Bev, you can't... How are you not got McLaren top 3? Not at least one. Let alone both of them.
Look. We'll see what happens, won't we?
Oh, mate. I can't believe you've gone Ferrari 1-2 in the sprint. That's ridiculous. Right, okay, whatever.
Forza Ferrari.
No, stop. In first, I've gone Lando Norris. I mean, that shouldn't be, that shouldn't surprise anyone. I'll talk more about Lando when we get onto the race predictions, but yeah, I think Lando will win the sprint.
Mm-hmm.
Right, poll for the actual race.
Poll for the actual race, I have gone with Lando Norris.
Okay, yeah.
I think McLaren could potentially be on the back foot going into the sprint. I think they'll just be a dial behind, and then when it comes to qualifying, they'll sort out whatever issues that they would have, in my opinion, during the sprint. And they'll just dial it in, and Lando will take that pole.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, I've gone with Lando Norris as well. I mean, I think confidence will be high after his race win last season. And Lando Norris is in a predicament at the moment because he's seeing Oscar, and Oscar is sort of in this very Kimi Raikkonen-esque cold mindset. Like, he's very much, doesn't matter what happens. He's cool, calm, collected. He doesn't care. You know, I don't think I've seen Oscar celebrate a win. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. He's just not emotional, like, in the slightest. Something goes wrong. Okay, might be a slight passive comment here or there, but on the whole, he's not like Lando, where Lando is throwing his toys out the pram and he's very, very emotional and he beats himself up. Oscar is cold and Oscar is collected.
He does seem very quiet, doesn't he? I mean,
he's very, very quiet.
The only flicker that I've heard this season in terms of nerves or annoyance, well, there was two, was obviously his mistake in Australia. That was him. And the other one was, do you remember that red flashing light round Saudi?
Yeah.
He sounded a little like under pressure from Max.
That was it, though.
Which is understandable. It's Max Verstappen coming after you after getting a 5-second penalty. He's angry. So, other than that,
I don't really even think he felt the pressure.
On with it, isn't he?
He is. I do not believe this man feels pressure from the way that we've seen. So, with that, Lando, I think that affects Lando more than Lando affects himself, because I think he sees this in Oscar and he sees how Oscar is soaking up the pressure really well, and he's going, damn, that needs to be me if I'm going to win this championship. But then he's overthinking it, and he's even saying, there's a few quotes earlier this week as well. Lando saying that I'm being too perfectionist on myself. I just need to learn that I'm going to make mistakes, and that's okay. And maybe that is the approach. He's questioning his own approach. He's in his 7th season. You know, he fought for the World Championship last year. As far as he was away from Max, he did have a chance to try and take the championship. You know, he should be at a stage that Oscar's at, but he's not. And I think he overthinks that. But I do believe, with all the negativity surrounding Lando, I think he'll come to this weekend, and I think because he's won this race, and he won it last year, and it was his first race victory, he'll have a new sense of confidence, and I do think because of that, it's going to be a whole different Lando Norris this weekend. I mean, I could be wrong, but, you know.
No, I said it at the start. I think that's what we'll see from Lando this weekend. I think we'll see a new reinvigorated Lando from not in Bahrain, not in Saudi. We didn't get that Lando. I think we'll get a different Lando, one that comes into this race knowing that he's won it, know he's got the capability of winning it, and will win it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to the top 3 then. So who have you got in 3rd place for the main race?
In the 3rd place for the main race, I've got Charles Leclerc, obviously sprint winner. I think with McLaren rectifying whatever issues I believe that they could possess in the sprint, I don't see him having a chance over a full race distance. But he's there. He's there, thereabouts. He puts them under pressure.
Yeah.
And I think Ferrari is starting to come through, especially in the hands of Charles. He's starting to unlock that performance. Maybe it's the Ferrari has that one certain sweet spot, and Charles is starting to find it.
Yeah, I think Charles is good at extracting everything he can out of that Ferrari. We saw it in 2021 and 2020 when the car was absolute ass. You know, the only times that we didn't potentially was when he was actually fighting for the world championship in 2022. But we saw it a lot last year. Charles's consistency is now, you know, relentless. And I agree. I've gone with 3rd Charles Leclerc. I think I completely agree with what you said earlier. Charles street circuits. He's on that level, and the only ones I think that could beat Charles. I mean, heck, I even think in the main race, Charles could probably be, I'd say, maybe even the best driver. It just might just be down to the car of the McLaren that might edge Charles out in the race over a race distance. I've put Charles in that McLaren. I think he wins this race. So Charles, I think, will have a very, very good race, and I've put him 3rd. So
I'm happy with that.
As a Ferrari boy.
Get you on this Ferrari side.
No, I do. I think Charles will do really well. Who have you got in 2nd place?
2nd place, I struggled with. Because, look, there's half of me that knows that what's going to happen.
Knows the outcome, yes.
But there's another part of me that's like, surely at some point, something's going to happen to one of them.
Well, it has. I mean, it was 1-3 in Bahrain, and it was 1-4 in Saudi, so you wouldn't be entirely mad for saying someone else finishes 2nd place other than Lando or Oscar. You wouldn't. Yeah. You wouldn't be mad for saying it. I mean, on paper, you would be mad, but based on the track record of the season, half of the races, it hasn't been 1-2. No. For the 3 out of 4, because in Australia, Lando finished 1st and Oscar was 9th. They've only finished 1-2 once this season. So you would actually, statistically, you'd actually be right in probably not predicting a 1-2 here. Go on. Do it. I know you want to do it. Do it.
I'm going to surprise you.
Oh, no. Ollie Behrman. Oh.
2nd place.
Fernando Alonso.
Kimi Antonelli.
Ooh, gimme. Okay. You know what? I've been waiting for this, by the way. I've been waiting for the part of the season where we start predicting Kimi to get like podiums and stuff. I've been waiting for this.
And the reason why...
He's Italian. That's why. Ferrari's Italian. Just saying.
Yeah, he's coming. Yeah. That's why. No. I believe there's gonna be some monstrosity thing that's gonna happen in Miami. I keep saying Bahrain. In Miami, we're gonna get a safety car. We'll probably get another safety car. There'll be a red flag. Something's gonna implode.
Yeah, something's happening.
Something's imploding here, and I think it's just the stars are just going to align for Antonelli.
Yeah, and I'll allude more to this when we talk about our star and our flop, because this is actually a point I wanted to bring up. But the track Miami is boring as we've had some races around there. It's actually...
Last season it was phenomenal.
Last season it was great, but as boring as some of the races have been, I mean, when you look at the track, it's really interesting because it's actually quite challenging. It's not like Saudi where it's just all fast-paced. There's slow sections, there's hairpins, there's heavy braking zones, there's long straights, there's twisty, high downforce, high-speed sections. It's got a bit of everything. It's got a bit of everything. On paper, this circuit is fantastic, right? Only the best of the best drivers that can get the best out of their machinery should be at the top in this race, right? This is one of them tracks. Oh, you think it should be, right? Looking at it on paper, obviously, previous years might disagree, but yeah, like if something mad should happen, because there's walls. We saw last year, buddy, Logan and was it Kevin Magnussen? Logan Sargent, Kevin Magnussen just binning it in the wall with each other. Like, just bro, and that tight section, if you go
Magnussen
wide over
had
the
a
bump.
Shocker last season.
Oh, he did. But you know what I'm saying? This race should be good. Like, it's got a lot going for it. So some madness could happen.
Yeah, and I think we're overdue a madness.
When was the last madness? Was it Brazil? The last madness we had?
Yeah, and that was the weather.
That was because of the weather. So when was the last dry madness we had?
Miami.
Was it Miami last year? Oh, there's got to be another one other than... Nah, no, an actual madness, I don't know. Because we had a lot of good races last year.
Let's think about it. Have we had a safety car this year?
Yeah, Australia. We had 3. We had 3. We had 3 safety cars in Australia, Jack.
Did we?
Yes.
3?
We had 3. Because everyone kept binning it. We had 3. We had Fernando went off.
One.
Someone else. No, we definitely had 3 because Lando did 3 restarts, and I remember every time we were like, "Oh, Max, this could be it. Max could get him."
Lando we had 2.
I thought we had 3.
No.
Either way, we had more than 1 anyway. I remember we had more than 1.
Other than that, we're overdue a safety car.
We're not overdue. It's not overdue if it happened 3 races ago, 4 races ago.
That's overdue.
Right, whatever. Okay, in second place, I've got Oscar Piastri. Yeah, boring. I mean, you say boring, but I mean, come on. We're back in...
Statistically.
Exactly. So
no.
actually, I'm not boring because statistically, I'm going with the lesser likely option. There you go.
No, it's the most likely option. Like, right.
It's not.
In that McLaren, right? If, for example, Lewis and Max got on, if you put Lewis and Max in that McLaren, they're 1-2 every race so far this season.
I don't know about Lewis, I think his qualifying would let him down. You put Max and Charles in that McLaren, I think.
All right,
yeah.
All right. Let's say Max and Charles then, for argument's sake. It's the drivers letting that car down.
Well, yeah, it is. It's Lando at the moment letting it down. It was Oscar in Australia, and it was Lando in Bahrain, and it was Lando in Saudi.
Yeah.
But you're right. No, if Max was in there, he's won every race, and he was pole in every race. And if Charles was there, he's probably first or second. I mean, Lewis would be second, but obviously his qualifying could change that. At least. So, there is that. But anyway, yeah. No, that's fair. Right, who has won the Miami Grand Prix? Let me guess.
Lando Norris.
Yeah, I've gone with Lando as well. Do we need to say more?
I think if this wasn't one that he'd won last year, I don't think I'd be going with Lando. But I think he'll have the mindset, I've won this, I can do this track.
Yeah.
And we'll see a different Lando to what we've seen in previous races, and that'll just give him the win.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No, I can't argue with that.
You can't argue.
No, I can't argue with that. Anyway, let's
flop and star.
Yeah, let's move on to flop and star. So, who have you got for a flop?
Flop. Probably a man who's been a silent star all season, other than Australia, which it wasn't his fault. It was the car.
Yeah.
Oliver Behrman.
Okay.
I think we saw in Brazil last year. He has a tendency to, when he messes up big
Yeah.
and a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's a case of when he messes up, he tries too hard to correct it, and then he messes up again.
Yeah.
So I think if he messes up once, he's going to mess up. And if you mess up once in Miami, whew,
Yeah.
you're a lucky boy.
Yeah.
If you can carry on.
Hmm.
And I think Ollie Behrman this weekend in that Haas, I think he'll be having a good weekend, and then suddenly he'll mess up once, twice, and then finish in a wall, unfortunately. And he'll be running well as well, and that's what will cause the flop, because he's messed up a position where he could potentially get a point or two for Haas again.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, yeah, he's still a rookie. Those mistakes are definitely in there.
But what he's done for the past 3-4 races have been, he's outdone Ocon.
Yeah, he has. Simple as that. No, that is definitely possible. My flop, I've gone with, quite controversially, I've gone with, I was going to go with Red Bull, but I think, obviously, when the car isn't there, that second seat, doesn't really matter who it is, isn't performing anyway. So I've gone with Max Verstappen. Because, like I alluded to earlier, this track has got a bit of everything. It's got high downforce, with, you know, sector 1, with it being so twisty and turny at high speed. It's got, obviously, long straights. It's got, you know, low speed at the last hairpin, and also that slow speed section through the middle just after the first DRS straight. So, with the point I'm going
to describe Suzuka there.
It's definitely not anything like Suzuka, this circuit.
High
Definitely.
Speed, twisty first sector.
It does kind of sound like Suzuka. The characteristics of this track.
Long straights, slow hairpins.
There's more long straights at this track than there is Suzuka.
There is more long straights.
And they're longer as well.
That's the only basis you're going off. They're longer.
They're longer. And the slow speed sections in Suzuka, I don't think are as slow speed as they are in Miami. Personally, I don't think so. The final chicane. I mean, come on.
Final chicane in Suzuka. What about the chicane in the middle of Miami?
That's what I'm saying. That's
incredibly slow.
Yeah, exactly. So with the very various characteristics of the track,
but then you got the hairpin that's incredibly slow in Suzuka.
It's not that slow. It's cambered, so you can take a wider line and you carry a lot of speed through there. But either way, my point is because, see, this is my thinking. This is my logical thinking. Because the track is so different in the way that the characteristics are in certain places, the Red Bull, we know, obviously, seems very circuit dependent. Max can get the best out of that car pretty much wherever he goes. But if Red Bull don't get it down to a T like we saw in Bahrain, then there's a very high chance that Max can't get everything out of that car that he possibly can. And with it also being a sprint weekend and less practice sessions, with there's so much to figure out, I think potentially Red Bull could be on the back foot. Could they figure it out come the main race? Yes. And could I be proven wrong? Almost definitely. But I think there's something with this track with so many different characteristics that's going to fundamentally hurt Red Bull, and it's therefore going to hurt Max Verstappen. It's nothing against Max. He could still finish in the top 5, but I don't think a podium is on the cards for him this weekend. So I've gone with Max Verstappen. Star of the weekend.
My star, well, it has to be Kimi Antonelli.
Yeah, that's fair.
Has to be picking up a P2. No sign of George Russell anywhere near him.
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Mine is Lando Norris. That's boring though. So I got another one. I've got Fernando Alonso.
Well, that's cheating.
That's not cheating.
You can only have one.
Well, It would be Lando, but I'm going Fernando Alonso because...
You're not having the point for both, by the way.
No, I'm not. Don't worry. I'll go with Fernando because I think this race, if it is a madness, could be the time where Fernando picks up a point or two, and this could be it. This could be the one. This is where Fernando's season starts. Okay, this is it. So yeah, I've gone Fernando. Anyway, let's move on to our last prediction. Who scores the final point of the race?
This is such an odd prediction because we've got to predict P10.
Yeah, this is our unique thing. This is what we do. We have to predict P10 every race. Who finishes 10th?
In this race is going to be George Russell.
Fucking hell. Right, okay. Well, you've done Kimi a madness in your predictions, so I'm not surprised you've binned off Russell. Shouldn't Russell be your flop of the weekend and not Behrman? If that's the case.
No, because I think George will do well to come back to P10.
Oh, so you think it's a first lap or a qualifying thing that happens?
I think something happens and he just has a comeback charge and gets P10.
Okay, fair enough. I've gone Pierre Gasly. Yep, simple. Bang, dusted. Pierre Gasly.
Boring.
How is that boring? I like Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly's my banker, you know. I just say Pierre Gasly every time.
Pierre Gasly's everybody's banker.
Yeah. He's the guy I can rely on to get at least 9th or 10th. And if Yuki's on form, then it might be 10th. Because Yuki ain't finishing in the top 8. Let's put it that way.
No, I don't know, you know. Yuki's just steadily getting better in that Red Bull.
He is, but based on my predictions...
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, yeah, that's it for our predictions for the Miami Sprint weekend. Let us know your predictions in the comments below. And we'll see who gets what right in the post-race podcast when we record that. So anyway, see you in a bit.